everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going through the new quad from Pat McGrath. So if you guys saw it in my community center when these was first launched on the Sephora website, by the way, these are limited edition and exclusively sold on the Sephora website. So when I saw these, I was like, wait a minute, $65 for 4 shades? Yeah, no. Because if you look at the regular Pat McGrath palettes, you get 10 shades for $125. So basically, I felt like I was only getting, the 4 shades for $65. Now, mind you, at the time when these first launched, there was no swatches. So because I'm not super duper knowing everything there is to know about Pat McGrath, I'm new to the Pat McGrath brand. I've only been kind of diving in, tippy-toeing around the brand for the last year. So I don't know all of the terms for every shade and, the duochromes and the fancy glitter terms. I don't know all of those terms. So when I read all of the information about the palette, it was kind of going one ear and out the other because I don't know the terminology to describe the shades. There was no swatches. So at the time, this palette online, this was the only one that looked like it was a glitter formula. The rest just looked like a shimmer. How would I know? Because there was no swatches. So I was a little bit bummed. I was like, seriously? What? But then when I watched a few reviews on YouTube, I was like, okay, this is her special formula. Then it all started to make a little bit more sense why these were $65. These palettes right here, this little Bronze Ambition palette, this palette was $65. So I was thinking, why am I paying $65 for the 4 shades when these have 6 shades for $65? So I was confused. But again, these palettes do not have her special formulas. Normally, she only saves those special formulas for her Mothership palettes. So then it all kind of started to make sense. But because I didn't see the swatches and I don't know the terminology, I'm clueless. I think a lot of us were. I think we were all like, what is the deal here? So now that I've kind of understood it, I decided to buy one. Now the other one is really pretty, don't get me wrong. This one is called the Iconic Illumination, and the other one, which I will put a picture up here, this one is called the Nocturnal Nirvana, and that one is really beautiful, but I didn't feel like I would use those shades as much as I would the others, just because I don't really wear those purples and blues and greens and stuff all that much. And I think when you're paying $65 for 4 shades, I think you want to make sure that you're going to wear every shade in the palette, and it's something that you could wear and justify buying it. And so for me, I just decided to go ahead and buy this one. Now, the other reason why I chose this one is because this one kind of looked similar to some of the other shades that I have in my Pat McGrath palettes. Now, full disclosure, I only have the Bronze Ambition palette. I used to have a holiday palette, but I actually gave it to a friend of mine who didn't have any Pat McGrath in her collection, and so I went ahead and sent it to her, and she's really enjoying it. It was just a palette that I wasn't using enough to kind of justify me keeping it. And then I also have the new Mothership 6 palette and the Mothership 5 palette. I do have that smaller, I'll put an image up right here because I have no idea, the Eye Ecstasy eyeshadow kit, but I don't have a lot of Pat McGrath. And I do recommend, if you guys are interested in these and you want to know more about the other palette, I will link a couple of videos in the description box down below of reviews from, other creators that I fully trust, and they did a great job on the review, and I can show you the other palette because I do not have the other palette. So because there was such an issue with the price for me in the beginning, now that I kind of understand what's in these palettes, I wanted to compare this palette, the size of it, compared to some of the other quads that are out there. So I do have 2 of the quads. I'm comparing the Charlotte Tilbury, the Dior, and a Tom Ford and a Chanel. Pat McGrath is a luxury brand. So we need to compare it to other luxury brands such as Tom Ford, Charlotte Tilbury, Dior, Chanel, those type of things. So the Charlotte Tilbury palette retails for $53 for 5.2 grams, which is $10.19 per gram. It is 0.18 ounces, which rounds out to be $288.89 per ounce, meaning if there was a full ounce of product in this palette, you would pay $288 for it, if that makes sense. The Pat McGrath palette, it retails for $65. You get 6 grams, which is $10.83 per gram. It is 0.2 ounces, which you would pay $307.03 per ounce if there was a full ounce worth of product in this palette. The Tom Ford quads, those are $88. Woo, whopping $88. But wait till you get the math done and then you'll be like, wait a minute, it's not as bad as I thought. The Tom Ford is $88 for 9.922 grams, which is $8.87 per gram. It is 0.35 ounces worth of product in that palette. So that makes it $251.46 per ounce. It's cheaper than the Pat McGrath and the Charlotte Tilbury. Can you believe that? I would have never have thought. Like, you get way more product in the Tom Ford than you do the Charlotte Tilbury or the Pat McGrath, which is pretty cool. Okay, so then we have the Dior, and this one is the most affordable of the 5, okay? Dior is $49. You get 10 grams worth of product, which is $4.90 per gram, and it's 0.35 ounces. So you would pay $138.92 if this palette was a full ounce. So it's actually cheaper than all of them. Like, it was way less than all of them, which is kind of crazy. Like, I didn't know that Dior was way cheaper than Pat McGrath and Charlotte Tilbury. Then let's talk about Chanel. Chanel was the one that was like, bam, like in your face, holy smokes. Chanel is $62 for 1.984 grams, which makes it $31.25 per gram. That means it's 0.07 ounces, and you're gonna pay, hold on, $885.93 if that palette was a full ounce. Almost $1,000 if that palette was a full ounce. Ooh, I was like, wait a minute, hold on, hold the phone. That is crazy. Like, ooh, I was starting to feel guilty that I've been really wanting to get a Tom Ford palette. I'm not feeling that bad about it, but holy smokes, Chanel, I don't know that I'll ever buy one of those palettes because that is crazy. Now that we've got the math out of the way and you guys understand why I was a little bit hesitant of the price, it's still very expensive, but again, this is a luxury brand. We're not talking about ColourPop. We're not talking about Maybelline. We are talking about Pat McGrath. This is a luxury brand. All of those brands that I just mentioned are luxury brands, and they take a lot of time and they put a lot of effort into their shadows. Their shadows are very expensive to make. The packaging on this palette is just incredible. It's the same packaging as the Mothership palettes, and you're gonna pay for what you get. And bottom line is, that's kind of one reason why I just decided, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and buy one. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and jump into the tutorial of me creating this look with this palette. I'm gonna do some palette comparisons because if you have the Bronze Ambition palette and or you have the Mothership 5 or 6, you might want to wait until you see the swatches before you decide to purchase this particular palette, not the other one, but this one. And I will give you guys my full final thoughts after the swatches. So without further ado, let's jump right into the tutorial. Okay, so let's start playing with this new quad. I decided to choose this one, and I kind of thought that this one paired well with my Mothership 6 palette. I felt like it was just an extension of this theme, so I could kind of like purchase-wise, I wanted to buy something that I could use with the Mothership 6 palette. So I feel like these shades are kind of cohesive, and I could create really pretty looks kind of combining these two together. These shades are really pretty though. Oh my gosh, like really pretty. like really pretty. First, I am gonna go in with this matte shade right here. And you guys don't have to do this. I think any matte, like if you don't have the Mothership 6 palette, I think any matte, like neutral brown tone will work. I'm just gonna start laying this down so that I kind of have a base to pop everything on top of. So I'm just gonna kind of start mapping out my crease and kind of bringing it into the inner corner, bringing it all the way out, and just doing those like windshield wiper motions with it. Have that down. Now I can just kind of build on top of that. I'm going to grab the Urban Decay brown eyeliner in the shade Whiskey, and I'm going to bring that on the upper waterline. Am I the only one that struggles with this? Like this is the thing that I hate doing right here. I'm gonna go ahead and place this on the lid as well, like right at the base of my lashes. Now I don't have to be like too super careful with it because I am just gonna kind of blend it out. So I'm just gonna take like a short stubby brush and kind of blend that out into the crease. And sometimes when I'm doing this, sometimes I need to do it twice. I like to go in with a light layer, blend it out, and then go in one more time just to build that extra depth. So now that I've blended that out the first time, I'm gonna go right back in and apply it one more time. Next up, I'm going to take that crease brush and I'm going to go into this really pretty red shade. And I'm going to pop this right here in the crease. And I'm bringing it up just a little bit higher than my crease. Like not super high, but kind of over top of the matte brown that I had down. I'm going to take my clean fluffy brush and just kind of smooth out those edges. And then I'm going to wipe the brush off and I'm going to go back into that brown shade that I was using in the Mothership 6 palette and just kind of go back over top of these edges and kind of bring that color back to life, but it'll add like a nice dimension to that really pretty shimmer shade. I'm gonna go back into that brown shade from the Mothership and I'm gonna bring that on the lower lash line. And with the same brush, I'm gonna go into the red color in the 4 quad. I'm gonna place it right over top on the lower lash line. I'm going to switch to my smaller pencil brush from Sonia G and just really make sure that I am packing that shade on now that I kind of got it blown out. It's such a beautiful shadow. Like it's so pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and add that brown eyeliner to the lower lash line just so that it kind of is dark right around the lashes. I'm going to go into the dark brown, which is this shade right here. And I'm going to pop that right here over top of the outer corner. I'm going to switch to this brush, which is the Worker Pro, and I'm going to go into this shade right here. And it's my experience, these don't really apply that great with a brush, but I'm just using the brush to kind of lay it down, and then I will go over top of it with my finger just to really bring that impact. So I'm gonna kind of take whatever's left on the brush and kind of sweep it up into the crease a little bit. And now I'm gonna go in with my finger and just really press that color on the lid. Holy smokes, that shade's pretty. It's a cross between like a peachy rose gold with like a hint of yellow. Like it's all of those kind of in one. It's really, really pretty. So I'm going to go back into the red and kind of buff out this edge and kind of blend these together. I think I'm going to add a little bit of that red back over that dark, just because I added the depth with that dark, and now I really want that red to kind of pop. I'm going to go into this really pretty sparkly shade. And this is like one of her glitter toppers, and they are to die for. So I've got it here on the brush. I'm going to spray it, and I'm going to focus that like right into the inner corner and kind of spraying it over top of that gold. Oh. See, it just kind of brought that to a whole other level. It's so pretty. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the inner corner. I'm going to put that color on the inner corner. So I've just got like a small brush here, and I've wet it down, and I'm just going to pop it right here. I think I want a little bit for my brow bone and bring it right up underneath the brow bone. I'm going to go ahead and finish this eye, put some mascara on, and I will be right back. Okay, so here's the final look on both of these eyes. I think they both turned out really good. I love the way this looks, and I think it's really pretty. So I did get one of the lippies in the new holiday. This one is called Christie's 048, and this is a matte formula. This was described as a divine beige nude, and I would not call this a beige. The only reason why I bought it is because I thought it was a beige. This is more of a pink, so it's pretty pink, you guys. Like, does that look like a beige nude to you? I mean, that's pink. It's not a beige nude. So I am definitely going to send this back, only because I just don't really wear that color like ever. And when you spend $40 on a lipstick, you want to make sure it's the right tone. And I never wear those bright pink shades, but I am going to try it on for you guys so you guys can see what this looks like. So that's pretty pink, and it definitely, like on the images, which I will put up here on the screen, like on me, it looks bright. It looks like a bright pink. When you look at it on the models, you know, they have 3 different skin tones, light, medium, and dark, and the medium skin tone, which is what I am, it looks more of like a beigeish color. That's the reason why I chose it, but this is pink, like bright pink, and I just don't really like it. You know, the description's just definitely off on this one. I do have a few lippies here from Pat McGrath, so I'm going to show you guys what they look like. So I have these two. These are from last year, which I think these are so pretty. Like the packaging on these, oh, gorgeous. I have this shade Flesh and Nude. This is Nude and this is Flesh, and Flesh has been my favorite. Nude was a little bit too pink for me, but this one is so, so pretty. But I also have the 3 mini set from last year, the little trio. So I have the Skin Show. So there's 2 different kits. You can get the color Blitz or the Skin Show, and I have Skin Show. So this one is Flesh 3. This one right here is $19.95. And then this one is Ami, I'm not exactly sure. But that's what those 3 look like, those 3 sets. And they're really pretty. This one is definitely one that I could totally wear. Like either one of these 2 I could wear with this eyeshadow look. So I think I'm going to do that. That's pretty. That's really pretty. It's a little bit more reddish than the eyeshadow look, but I really think that it matches good. Like I think it looks really pretty. So what I did was I grabbed this mini one in the shade Ami, and then I popped this back over top of it, and like those 2 together, like this one gave it the depth that it needed, but then this kind of like gives it that really pretty shimmer look. Let's go ahead and jump into the swatches, and I will give you guys my final thoughts. Okay, so let me get into my final thoughts about this quad. Yes, these are very expensive. They are $65. You do get her special formula. I wouldn't say like especially this formula and this one, oh, so pretty. But as you saw in the swatches, if you have the Mothership 5 and 6 or the Bronze Ambition palette, like seriously, this shade right here at the bottom is nearly identical to this shade in the Bronze Ambition palette. I was kind of surprised to see that repetitive of a shade because they're literally almost identical. And I think once you blended them out on the eye, you would never know that it wasn't the same shade. So that was kind of a disappointment because I already have that shade in this palette. Also, because I feel like if you pay $65 for 4 shades, you really want to make sure that you don't have those shades in your collection, or you want to make sure every shade counts and you love every shade. That's one reason why I didn't choose the Nocturnal Nirvana. I bought them, there was no swatches on the Sephora. They finally have swatches up, but at the time there was absolutely no swatches. So for me, I was like, I am never going to use those like iridescent holographic blues and purples and like I just don't wear those shades very often. But for those of you that do, then that would definitely be a good palette to get because you're not going to have as much repetitive shades as far as some of the other palettes that I have here. Now don't get me wrong, I don't have all of the Mothership palettes. I know Kinky Sweat has all of the Mothership palettes, and she compared both of these palettes to all of her shadows that she has from Pat McGrath. I will link her video in the description box down below in case you guys are really interested in more palettes from Pat McGrath comparing to these two quads. This one is really, really pretty because it's a little bit more of a champagne. One of the Mothership 6, the new one, this one is a little bit more of like a pearl, and this new one is a little bit more of a champagne. So I'm really happy to have this shade because I really like that pearl, but when I'm doing those like fall vibe looks, I want more of the champagne and not the pearl. So I was really happy to have that new glitter formula in this one. If you have other Mothership palettes in your collection or even the Bronze Ambition, then you probably already have this palette. The variations, in my personal opinion, are not enough to make this purchase worth it, even though I am really happy that I have this shade because that was my only thing with that shade in the Mothership 6 palette was it was a little bit more pearl, and I was wanting a little bit more of that champagne. So I'm definitely keeping this only because I do really, really love these glitter formulas, and these are not like over the top. The duochromes I wear on a very, very, very special occasion. So for me, these are very wearable shades for me personally. For those of you that like more of those duochromes and those monochromatic looks, I would definitely look at the other quad that's available with like the blues and the purples and stuff, because I kind of feel like that one is a little bit more unique in my opinion than this one. But yeah, so that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for all the love that you show me and my channel. It means the world to me. I hope you guys have a wonderful day filled with love and joy. I will see you guys in my next video, and I love you all so much. Bye.